So let's try to not kill anyone doing this. Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is gonna be my top 19 books I'm hoping to read in 2019. Basically a big pile of books that I want to read this year. I don't know about you, but it's like too many books, too little time, and I get kind of confused when I look at my bookshelves or just all the books that keep coming out, and I want to try and organize my reading a little bit, so trying to make my life easier. I chose 19 books, and I will be doing myself a favor and try to actually stick to this list, because last year I realized out of the 18 books I had put on my list, I only read 5, which is not good. So I chose carefully 19 books that I really want to make a point to read this year. I won't be cruel to myself and get rid of them if I don't read them, but you know, just trying to make an actual effort to go through them. The first one, I feel like everyone will be expecting this, the newest Brandon Sanderson book. I want to read all of his books, so I have to read this one. This is Skyward, and how gorgeous is this edition? This book is a YA sci-fi, which it doesn't do that much, so I'm kind of excited to go through it and see how it's going to be. You're following a main female character who, the Earth basically is being attacked by aliens, and she finds an old spaceship, and I believe it's like artificial intelligence, like it's a sentient spaceship, and she learns how to flight and try to go to, is it school or just attacking the aliens? I don't exactly know because obviously I haven't read it yet, but so far the reviews have been positive and I'm super excited to go through it. It is a pretty big one. It has 500 pages, so it's a little intimidating, but it's probably going to be one of the first books that I've read like in 2019, like January. Very excited about it. Also, gorgeous edition. This one is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I believe this is a companion series to the Remnant Chronicle, which I've read and loved, so I wanted to go back into that world and see the characters that I love so much kind of going through different adventures. It's another YA fantasy. Very excited about it. Don't know too much, and I believe the second book is coming out also this year, so might as well catch up. Let me go through all the YA because I don't have that many. The next one, I kind of want to choose between two, which one I will be including as a reading vlog, so let me know which one you want to see the most. We have Nevernight by J. Kristoff, and then we have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is book 2 in the Six of Crows duology. So this one, I know you're following a character who is learning to become an assassin, I believe, and this one, obviously, it's the second book, so I can't say too much, but the first book was about a heist, and the characters were very attaching. I like that world. I had read the Grisha trilogy beforehand, which I recommend you do so. The magic system is super interesting, so which one would you like me to read, and let you know my favorite parts, quotes, as I go through it. So you vote. I believe everything else is considered adult books, so I have a few that are like continuation into series that I've enjoyed. The first one being Grey Sister by Mark Lawrence. Loved Red Sister, made it to my best books of 2018. Definitely recommend that video if you're looking for more recommendations, but I like to describe it, probably badly, but I like to say it that way. You're following a girl that goes to a school with badass fighting magical nuns. Yeah, that I stick by that. And this is book 2. I'm excited to explore the world more and hear more about the magic system. I feel like it's kind of a fantasy post-apocalyptic, like the world seems to have been going through stuff. People can't go really up north or south. People have to stay close to the middle of the earth because everything else is frozen. So I'm curious to just hear more about the whole thing. Next we have Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. The first book was actually, it's right here, might as well show it. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. These are all, I believe, kind of companion novels to each other. It's not truly like one story, but it has to be one of the most wholesome sci-fi series I've ever read. It's quite character driven, so this is the third book. I'm excited to just complete it. I really like the cover, and it's new. I've just bought it. I want to read it ASAP. I have some classics. The first one is from Fyodor Dostoevsky. I have Notes from Underground, which I believe was the one book everyone was recommending me to read before reading Crime and Punishment or The Idiot that I also have. And this edition also has the double in there. So I thought 2 in 1, why not? I especially wanted to read the first one, but I will most likely read both when I do end up reading this. I've just been meaning to read more, and by more I mean actually start reading some Russian classics. I've never read any, and this author was obviously recommended to me. I feel like everyone knows about it, but I just wanted to start somewhere, and this apparently is the way to do it, so will do. Next classic is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I wanted to read this during the fall, which is usually when I read like thriller, mystery, horror, and I didn't have the chance to get to it, so if I put it in this list, I have to read it. Rebecca is supposed to be a story about like a newly wedded wife who is kind of haunted by the ex-wife of her husband. and I'm kind of just curious to read more. I have seen the movie My Cousin Rachel. I actually need to read the book for that too, and it was so good that I cannot wait to actually read this. The next one is more of a sci-fi classic than a true classic. Is it a modern classic? Doesn't matter. I'm excited about it because I've never read 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. I've actually read another book, and I can't remember which one, from him last year, and enjoyed it. And I want to read like a bunch of classic sci-fi. I love sci-fi, and I believe there's a movie, and I've never actually read this one, so it was on my list. I have a few on my list. Like, I read The Forever War last year. I also have The War of the Worlds, which eventually I will read too, but it's not in this list, so I don't have to. But I wanted to read this one since it's so popular, and the book is actually fairly short. There's like just over 200 pages, so I could do this fairly easily. And I'll finally understand when people talk about it. I also have How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I love The Humans by him that I read last year, made it actually to my best of the year, and I believe this is possibly becoming a movie, so another reason to actually read it. I know very little about it. I believe this main character lives his life very slowly, like 50 times slower than the average person, so he's going through life like slowly. I mean, like, he doesn't die like for like 400 years or something. So it's one of my favorite tropes. Either people reliving their lives over and over again, or their days, or, you know, just living very long. So I'm excited about it. I'm really hopeful because I loved The Humans, so my hopes are high. I actually decided to chuck in here last second another Brandon Sanderson book. This is Shadow of Self. I believe this is book 5 in the Mistborn universe. The first 3 are a trilogy, and then the next 4 are a quartet, and then there's going to be even more in the future. Basically, the Mistborn world, people that have magical power have to consume metals and burn them. That's the best way of describing it. It's a very strict and structured magical system, which I think is really interesting, kind of make things a little bit more complicated in a good way. And in this version, people are now like Western time, there's guns and everything, so it complicates things. And the 2 main characters, the main 2 guys, have a really fun friendship, a lot of humor in here, and I just want to read them all because possibly, probably not, but possibly the last book of the quartet will come out this year, and I have book 3 too, so I need to start. Oh, I think this might be considered YA, so oops. The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I've read a few of his books actually a year or 2 ago, and I really enjoy them, and I realized I had this on my shelf for the longest time and I want to get to it. I got it, I'm pretty sure, also at my library sale. It's a fairly big book. There's almost 500 pages, so it didn't quite make it to my big books challenge. If you haven't seen it, I'm trying to read more big books because they're scary, but I need to get over that fear. So many of you were telling me that this is an amazing book series. I believe the main character lives in a place where people hear everyone's thoughts all the time, and then he walks somewhere and it kind of stops. That's like the premise that was told to me, and I'm intrigued, so I'm hoping I will enjoy this because, again, it's a trilogy, so I'll be able to just devour the whole thing. But I also love his writing, so I already know at least I will enjoy that. If you want to sell me a book, have an interesting premise and I'll pick it up. I feel like it's usually the case with Claire North. This book is The End of the Day. I love the first 15 lives of Ariagus, someone reliving their lives, and I love the premise of the sudden appearance of hope. Although the book wasn't exactly what I wanted, but the premise was really intriguing. And again, she comes out with another one that is like that. I thought this one was about the character being death, but I'm not sure now that I'm reading the back because they're saying sooner or later death visits everyone. Before that, you'll meet Charlie. So I'm assuming we're meeting Charlie, so the person before death. So maybe it's not death. I'm still intrigued. We'll be reading this. I love the spine. I love when there's full spine. I decided to include another Stephen King book because I tend to try and read as many as I can, and this one has been raved about so much. This is Salem's Lot, and this one is about, is it vampires or witches? I think it's witches. So 2 young boys end up going to the forest, and only one comes out alive. So mysterious dark stuff happens, as they usually do in Stephen King's book. I'm excited to read that one. It's actually fairly big. It has like 650-ish pages, and it doesn't look that big. That's usually why I'm intimidated by his book, but if I put it on this list, I will read it. Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. This I picked up also at a library sale, actually, I'm realizing, and this one even has a name of someone in here, so, Marlene? Maybe? Marlene? Thank you for your book. I've only read The Handmaid's Tale by her, and I did enjoy it, and this one is a post-apocalyptic book, so, again, I feel like it's one of my goals in life to read all of them and eventually do a video about the best ones. And I wanted to read this one because, again, a lot of you were recommending it to me, and I've also seen it on a lot of lists of like best post-apocalyptic. So The next book is the first book in a fantasy series that has amazing rating. This is City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. In this one, I believe there's like magical gods, and I think there's some type of like mystery twist to it. I like to go into my books pretty blind, but I have found the whole trilogy, and so many people that I follow ended up giving like the whole trilogy 5 stars, so I need to read this too. I'm refilming this bit because I just received a physical copy, so I thought might as well include it because it's pretty. This is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is book 2 in the villain duology. The first book was called Vicious. That's a lot of these. In this book, you're following 2 friends in university, and they find a way to develop superpowers, but they kind of turn out more like supervillain than superhero. And she finally came out with book 2. It's been like a few years, so I'm very hopeful I'm going to be enjoying this. Definitely one of the next ones I will be reading because I just got it, right? That's one of the things I wanted to improve with, because I feel like when you just get a book, that's the moment you should be reading it because that's when you're the most excited about it. So last but not least, I have The Player of Games by Ian M. Banks. This is part of the Culture series, which there's like a bunch of books, and apparently they're just companion novels. And this is technically book 2. I do have book 1. So if someone has read them, let me know if I have to read book 1 first, because book 2 has better ratings and people were saying to just jump to book 2 first before going back. You tell me. But I've been meaning to read this series for the longest time. There's so many series that I've wanted to read for the longest time, and I just never end up picking them up because they're kind of scary, and usually they're very, very long series, so I feel like I have to commit to it, so need to start. I almost forgot one because it's an ebook. It's The Jade City by Fonda Lee. It was described on Goodreads as a gripping Godfather-esque saga of intergenerational blood feud, vicious politics, magic, and kung fu. The reviews are super positive on Goodreads, and it just came out in 2017, and I got an e-copy for my Kindle and just keep forgetting about it because, again, as I almost did here, when I don't see it, I forget about it, so I want to actually read this one too. So those are the top 19 books that I really want to read in 2019. Please let me know in the comment section if you have read any of these, what you thought about them, spoiler free obviously, or let me know the ones you are planning on reading in 2019, any specific goals you're looking to try and achieve. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss any future videos. I will be putting on the screen other videos that I've done that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.